Hi, my name is Dan Paulson and welcome to my channel. Everything that I've been doing for the last year has been deciphering the text, the teachings from antiquity, and learning that there is something nested in there that is to help us emerge from society. This work appears all over in antiquity. However, I finished decoding what I needed to and realized that that's kind of a unique thing, and I'm going to move on from that and step into a couple of other areas that interest me. One of them was the question of antiquity, large stones and what appear to be precision-made bowls coming from places that don't seem like they should be from there. But also the idea that there have been recent UFO sightings, the Tic Tac, the Navy, and other material that is emerging that makes me think, wow, something is there. Something is there. I'm not quite sure what. But I know that both of those areas are incredibly huge rabbit holes that go to the craziest places all over. So I'm going to bring my own style of approaching it without believing anything and going at it open-mindedly and seeing where the evidence takes me. Not knowing what to do in this episode, I was watching a video, several videos as I'm getting into this, and there was some from a channel called UnchartedX. And the host in one of the videos, who had some very good video, lots of fun and interesting things to look at there. But the dialogue became very foil hat for me, very conspiracy theory kind of stuff. And there was one thing that made me realize what I wanted to do next in this video right here. Twice the content creator, the host of the show, I heard comment that the Egyptians of the day that the pyramids, or the time of the pyramids being taken over by the Egyptians, according to them, were a loincloth wearing kind of savage sort of people. And that was like, oh my gosh, are you serious? I had to think about that for a while and try to figure out where it is that people come from that get them there. And I think that's going to be the next video. What I decided to do in this video is to take the teaching that has emerged from everything from the earliest teachings to the most recent teachings, everything from Christianity to its parent, Judaism, everything from Hinduism, Taoism, Buddhism, mythologies. All of them nest a teaching in different vehicles that are intended to be an inward spiritual teaching. And they're simply encased in stories and religions that fit with their time and their place. So all of those things are fun, but there's one teaching nested in there. And this is a very intelligent people that are doing this and putting these in there. What I'm going to do is leave the idea that someone's claim of the Egyptians being loincloth wearing savages off to the side. There's no reason to look at that one right now. What I'm going to do here is just go through the teachings and finish up. I think this will help turn the corner on what I have been doing to what I am moving on to. So yeah, this is everything that I can decipher. It starts out in a little bit more coarse terms. In some of the material, it will tell you to defeat your enemies, destroy your dragons, do things like that. Get rid of your demons. There are a variety of things that carry this idea that you're supposed to purge yourself out. A flood, getting rid of all of the things for a rebirth. All of those stories exist for metaphoric reasons that play out in the human psyche. Who looks outward dreams. Who looks inward awakens. That's what we're going to do. These all look inward. Every story plays out inside of the human psyche, every teaching. At any rate, as this moves along, it becomes more detailed to where by the time we're getting up to teachings like from Jesus, it's getting very specific. How to slay your dragon. What does it mean to slay my dragon? Jesus is teaching us to heal your past, to forgive the people that have hurt you, to do things like that. These are the ways that later on we start getting more detail on how it is we're supposed to find enlightenment, to clear our souls, to live at a higher level of existence. So here's the teachings. It starts out this way. First of all, there is none of it supernatural. Every bit of it is analytical. The stories are embedded by people who knew this, who had the analytical story, had the framework. And that's what we're going to discuss is the framework. And, but the framework, when you hear the teaching, it's not a fun teaching. It doesn't sound fun. It doesn't sound popular. It is not going to travel. So what you do is you take that framework and you give it to your scholars, and they take beliefs or places, times, certain things within your culture. They could be supernatural or real. And they create analogs. They take things from the environment, like man and woman, conscious and subconscious, would be used to begin to convey this teaching that you can put into the population that speaks word. I mean, people are talking. They don't read and write. They're passing stories along word of mouth at that time. So these stories are constructed and they're carrying this teaching of how to heal yourself. But they're in supernatural or magical or some kind of things that are meant to kind of help the masses, because that's what people like. They would prefer something that they can't get a hold of than sometimes the simple truth. And I kind of think that's what happens. You see a lot of people in this world interested in supernatural things looking outward, cannot prove any of it, but they don't look inward. The few that do, yeah. So that's the teaching. Few are going to do it. There's not many people that are going to turn inward. I don't think that this is anything special. It's just personality type and what your experience in life is. Maybe that's all there is to it. But you must turn inward. That we have become a product of our thoughts, our experiences in life, and how we continue to hold those, how we have judged them, how we have named them, how we have classified those experiences, whether they are good or bad, hurtful or not, and that we live life in concert with what we're holding up here as long as we leave that in check. It is actually stored up here electrochemically in our brains. They couldn't say that. Like I said, I'm updating it. It would have been your soul, your spirit, something. What we know is that it's perceptions. The way you hold something with a feeling is the way it lives. And the way to change the way it lives is to change the way you hold it. There's nothing else you can change. That is what they're teaching, how to replace past feelings with new feelings. Now, the material can be used at different levels. You might have a very good life, but you've got something in the past that you've done that somehow you feel guilt, shame, something over that is hurting your life. And that if you resolve that, find a way to make good, find a way to clear yourself of your feelings of guilt and shame, your life will be fine. That won't be an issue anymore. However, you can take it to really extremes, though, and start out from an incredibly poor place in life where you were abused, molested, all manner of things. This material is for you to emerge, for us to come up out of that place into a higher place. So the way it does that is by telling us, yes, that we are a product of what we have thought, and that in order to stop experiencing our lives the way that we are, that we must forgive the past. Now, the way this looks is that there is 5 senses that the human has. We live in the physical world, but there's a 6th sense that we have marginally. This is where we connect with each other have you ever worshiped and got really into it and you feel like, ooh, so caught up in something like that, and you're like, wow, there's something bigger than me out there when I experience that. Or maybe it's happened in games, in championship games, or in some other kind of camaraderie with you and your friends, just the fun, the love, the joy. But that works in all regards. Emotion can be all over the place. We also have people go to protest in the streets that end up doing things in a group that goes way beyond what they would have done on their own, and you got regrets for it later. We get caught up in this unified field, in our groups, in our beliefs, or times where you might have instinctual gut feelings, or you and your partner say the same thing at the same time, or obscure things. These are not everyday occurrences. It's not as solid as looking at somebody and watching them. It is something that is more fleeting. It's more a hint, and sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. And that is the part that is our collective human psyche and the energy field that we put off, and that we exist in that energy field, and that everybody exists in that energy field, and that we flow in that energy field in concert with the quality of the way we hold the things in our minds. And in order to change that flow, we have to change this up here. If we don't change this up here, what we're experiencing is going to continue to experience. We're going to continue to experience that without, as within, so without. In order to change the outward, we have to change the inward. And it tells you that. And we know that. But what does that mean? You have to go in and look at your pain and your shame and your hurt. That person molested me. I have to forgive them. It has to be like that in order for the change to take place. If you can't do that, this is not for you. Hang on to the outer story and carry it around. Somebody that needs this is going to thank you later for carrying it for them. You can, in some religions, however, they come bundled with practices that allow you to heal without turning inward. It might be something like meditating on chakras or helping others, performing some kind of austerity. In some way, shape, or form, you are focusing your mind on a change and focusing on things. Without looking at it directly, you're looking at healing, you're looking at trying to feel better. So you're going to gradually, if you focus on that and really stick with it, you will gradually make changes and heal in your life. If, however, at any point in time you decide, boy, I want this to be faster, you can turn in and interact with the memory. Interacting with the memory is going to be something that emerges from the teaching, how to make it go much quicker. And you drop the supernatural when that happens too. It goes right after your memory. Okay, what else do we have? Jesus' teachings will go on further to let you know things like if you are emerging through this, your friends are going to change. The people around you are going to, if you're fitting into a group right now and you're ready to start making changes and you're going to grow and you're going to start coming through your pain and your shame and your fears, the things that we hold inside of us that we don't want to talk about, that's our wall. And the stuff that's in there, that's the stuff that's plugging our eye. To clear out your eye, to clear out your inner eye, you resolve these issues. That's what it teaches when you turn it in upon yourself. That happens when you forgive and forget. Not forget, when you forgive and allow other people to... Okay, let me back up for a second. Forgiveness, I don't like that term. It's a tough thing. I couldn't forgive. I had a difficult time, and I had to come to the realization that I was holding memories and the way that I felt about them, the way that they made me feel, the shame, the pain, the hurt, I was holding them under those terms in my own mind because that's how I experienced them. Yeah, they hurt. So I experience them that way, I hold them that way. At some point I realized years later, my life continues to play out, not because of what happened, but because of the way that I'm holding it. Forgiveness is not about letting that person off the hook. Forgiveness is about letting me off the hook. If you continue to if you try to forgive that person because you know fundamentally, okay, I'm supposed to forgive them. All right, I forgive them. Do you feel it? A lot of times that's not okay. It's the way that you feel that tells you what you're holding up here. So you continue to self-observe without ego, humility. You must always look at this as I have to clean this to change my life. You cannot look at it like life is causing my issue. You belong where you are. If you don't like what's happening, you have to change yourself, period. If you need to change the people around you, that's not going to happen. Okay, so that's it. As you are in environments and you are changing people around you, you're going to cease to fit with them. They're not going to like what you have to say. They're going to be holding their fears in. You're going to be letting your fears out. You're going to represent the very thing to them that they're putting their walls up for. So they might get angry at you. You cannot, a physician cannot heal his family. A teacher cannot teach his village. When you're learning when you are learning from where you are and you are emerging from that, you're going to cease to fit. And Jesus warns you of that. Yeah, you're going to be persecuted for this as you move along. Keep it to yourself. Find friends that you can confide in and just work it out amongst them. As long as you are holding things inside of you that you feel hurtful, shame, like you can't let them out, you're the only one that can know that. That is the issue, and it's letting you know that that is your problem right there. And the only way for you to change your life is to get over that barrier right there. And if you can't get through that barrier, most people can't. That's why this story's come packaged in religions and promises and all kinds of things. Okay, there's more. I did the healing part and I kind of forgot this. It also tells you to just live a simple life, to not grasp, to not hold on to things, to not cling to desires for things that are unimportant, to let go of baggage that you're bringing along the way. If there are things that are in your life that are not producing good fruits for you, or not, you're enabling somebody, or you just have people that are preventing you from having the best quality of life, there's times you have to let that go, let those things go. But also excesses, alcohol, drugs, foods, anything like that that you are addicted to, that we get caught up in that stuff, it becomes a part of our main part of life. I think the big thing here is to be happy. I don't think at any point in time there is no internal part when you turn it inward where it tells you to become a monk or anything like that. The idea is to be happy and to live a good life. Monks, priests, people like that, they can become very committed to that life and to be a teacher in that. However, they are leading that outward-looking path, honestly. Who looks outward dreams, who looks inward awakens. Once you look inward, you're not being led anymore. You're taking the tools and you're using them on your own. It is a personal path at this point. Those who want to lead you down the road of salvation are not taking the inner path. They are looking outward. Just be aware of that. When you're ready to look inward, it goes right into your hands. With this material, with you going, yeah, I just have to do this myself. Nobody else can reach in and say, there, now, how's that? You feel better now? Is that shame gone away? I did a little tweak. It won't happen. There's no easy way. There's no emotional lobotomy that I'm aware of. This is the teaching. Get over your fears. You're emerging. You have to, you must fast as to the world. You got to let go of the things that are out there. If you're stuck in media, you're wrapped up in all of the, groups and things, or television, news, things like that. You're stuck. You are being wired as you are connected with that. You have to let that go. You got to turn off the TV. You got to shut off the things that are, they're happening. You and me jumping in on them does what? It adds our angst to that big field. If we want that field to diminish in an area that we don't like, we have to remove ourselves from it. We don't go after it and fight the other people to make victory happen. That just makes both sides bigger because they'll do the same thing. We need to extract ourselves from that. We're trying to pull out of that. We're not going to be the ones protesting on the streets. We're going to be the ones saying, I'm going to take care of, I'm going to solve an issue over here that I have a problem with, instead of complaining that somebody else isn't doing what I want them to. We're looking at different ways of doing things, and that is what the teaching is telling us to do, is to live our life separate from that we're emerging from a very tribal, animalistic society, and that we come from there. You got to let yourself off the hook. You have to say, yeah, that's where I'm from. I got raped. I got molested. I got beaten. I got hurt, so I hurt other people. I raped, I molested, I beat. The hell's the matter with us? I want to emerge above that. You have to look at it and realize that we got to let ourselves off the hook and find a way to become bigger than that. The way that some of the teaching has us do that is to create what would be called your higher self. This part of you, if you're familiar with Eckhart Tolle, it's that part of you that you can look at yourself and feel your pain, and you see yourself in pain, but you can observe it from a distance. Who is this observing it right here? This person, this right here. This is your higher self. This is the person that, if you develop this person properly, this person exists in all, that senses the all and is free of the emotions of down there. It exists at a higher place. You practice being this person. Everybody has this person. You practice it, you use your imagination, you develop it in your mind. This person is a part of you that can see your life without being affected by the emotional hurt of it. You have to develop it that strongly. You don't have to. You can. this part of you can then go and address the hurt part of you. There are parts of us that as children were not resolved. They were put away, done. It might be things that we know to deal with, and we deal with those big things in life. We're emerging and we think, okay, I'm going to forgive and forget the past, and you've dealt with some issues, but things continue to happen. What we have to know is that along life is we're having experiences that we are continuously putting those experiences away. Our hurt, our shame, all those things, our little child self is still being ignored back there. These are just memories. The idea is to interact with those memories. So pretending that you are yourself, a higher self, and going back and finding your childhood self and teaching that childhood self that everything is okay, that you have a future ahead of you. What you're really doing is going back and resolving a memory that got stored there electrochemically as a perception. You're changing that perception. And as long as you don't change that perception, it's going to continue to emerge. So continue to observe that. To make preparations for, if you know that you've got an issue that's going to come out, you begin to observe that ahead of time. This is the idea of preparing yourself for the strong man that's going to come and rob your house. Your house is up here. You know something is going to emerge because it's a part of what you're trying to deal with, and you know that it's a part of your life, and you begin to recognize, God, I do this. I get triggered and this happens and I'm wrong and I regret it and I apologize, but it happens again and I apologize. Recognize that. Learn it. Make preparation. Catch it faster and faster. Put an end to it. Understand where it comes from. When it's happening at the moment that it is emerging, it is manifesting from a seed, from inside of you. Go stop at that moment. Follow it in. Why am I acting like this? What is it about me? And we get these things from our lives growing up, and we just keep looking at them and healing them. And the idea then is you start out perhaps as a low life where you're just kind of like depressed and hurt and suicidal, many bad feeling ways. It's because of all of the way we judge our life, and that by realizing that we're trying to emerge above that, we can start to let things go. We can start to forgive people. And it's not about forgiving people. It's about letting go of the things that we hang on to that is not letting us go free. That's ultimately what it is. And that they are memory items that we have to face. And if we don't face them, we can spend time, peace, peace, loving peace, loving peace. We can do that. That's an important thing too, all the time. But you don't have to just loving peace, loving peace, loving peace, and nothing else. You can say, okay, here's something that I keep doing and I know why. I'm going to go back and address myself at that point in time and heal myself so that I quit doing that. That is an important part of this process. Happiness and joy will be at a higher level. You can still have sadness and happiness. You just live a higher level of life. And that as you move along, you will be leaving one environment to the next. Be forewarned. That is what is nested in all of these teachings. And it's very intelligent. And all of the stories are meant to hold the human. I don't know. They are all different from each other, but they contain the same nested lesson. The ancients knew this. I don't think people today know it very well. And they're called loincloth-wearing savages. Well, okay, that wraps up this teaching. There's probably more to it. If you have any questions about something, go ahead and post it below. A lot of it is just really letting go of things and learning how to let go of those things. And realizing that your life is going to continue to exist in that flow of humanity based on what you have up here. It's not just inside your head and your own feelings that you're hiding from other people. Your life is going to unfold crappy if you're not dealing with this stuff. If you get to a point where you go, okay, I'm done playing the game and pretending like I'm happy when I'm really hurt, it's going to be a lonely path. It's a different path. It's not for everybody. That's why it's nested deep. At any rate, I think that's all I wanted to say in this video. I do want to talk more about the Egyptians and their building and what I think about that and the potential for a humanity reset, but not on this video. I'll let it sit at this one. I think that wraps up the teaching. I hope so anyway. Love one another, and I'll see you in the next video.